Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Beyond from Mission Start Podcast. Before we do anything, actually, let me play this. There we go. So, as you might notice, two things. One, it is nighttime, and there's a reason for it, because we're doing this at midnight. You're getting Mission Start Podcast after dark. Yeah.
That's because I have stuff I got to do tomorrow morning. we still want to give you your show.
Oh yeah, definitely. Can't be a Saturday morning without your weekly podcast. So as you might have seen, joining me tonight is none other than Greg Dietz.
Hi, I'm playing World of Tanks while we do this.
For a minute there, it was just like you just zoning out for a second.
Well, because I'm also on my laptop. I have SGDQ, and I'm watching them do a blind Pokemon Blue race, but I wasn't sure that they were blindfolded because I was watching a guy just bump into a fence for like a second. I was like, "What the hell?
Yeah,
like is he trying to glitch it?" But yeah, that's what I got distracted by that.
No, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like actually, I've been watching that all week. I'm gonna go back and watch a Pokemon Blue after probably this is done. Just because I've been hearing a lot of just like insane stuff on Twitter about it. But since we're on the topic, SGDQ is this week.
Yes.
So for those who don't know, SGDQ stands for Summer Games Done Quick. It is a week-long event where they bring in people who have speedrun mini games across all platforms, from first-person shooters to platformers to old, new, anything pretty much. And it's really interesting and entertaining to watch. I'm looking for the B-roll, actually. Here it is. Okay, trailer. So, it's really cool. I didn't start watching SGDQ until last year, I believe, my first time exposed to it. And I really enjoyed it. It was pretty awesome. So yeah, like it's pretty insane what they can do, and everything that you see like right out in this trailer for the event, everything that they're doing is in game. There's no hacks, no mods, no anything. They're using everything in the game engine and exploiting anything that might have been exploitable. So, just to kind of ask you, Greg, which one has been your favorite so far?
Oh God, I really enjoyed, because I hadn't seen it before, but I really enjoyed the. I tweeted about it. Damn it, what was it? It was like a 2 hour. It was a 2 hour 2 hour thing. I'm going to my Twitter now just to make sure.
While you do that, I will.
Damn it! Oh, it was BioShock Infinite.
Oh, gotcha. I need to go back and watch that. I was like,
because this is the second SGDQ, but the fifth Games Done Quick event.
Oh, so it's fairly recent. I thought it was I thought it was like more of a thing they were doing prior, or maybe they have been. It just hasn't been streamed.
I'll tell you this. Half Empty Energy Tank, the group I streamed for, I found them in their Mega Manathon 2, which was a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. Right after that, like right after MagFest happened, they started doing Awesome Games Done Quick. That was the first. And then they did Summer Games Done Quick, and then they did another Awesome Games Done Quick at the beginning of this year, and now Summer Games. So this would be the fourth time they've done it.
Ah, I see. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. It's very recent, but it's really cool. It's really awesome. I suggest you guys go check it out. If there's a game that you're interested in that is there, I definitely see how they break the game in like many interesting ways. I donated a bit of money to it this past week. I had a friend of mine who actually speedrun one of the games there. It was Wednesday morning. He speedrunned Echo the Dolphin, and that was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. So me and a bunch of other friends of ours just donated money and just made comments for them to read out loud.
Yeah, the cool thing is that at the first Awesome Games Done Quick, it was for the American Cancer Society, and they raised like a little over $500,000. And then for the second one, which was God, I don't remember what it went to, but they raised a little bit more. They raised it was like 700 something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then for the Awesome Games Done Quick earlier this year, they did like $1.3 million for the American Cancer Society. Right now, they're doing it for the Doctors Without Borders, and they're at $754,000.
Oh wow, that's crazy! Oh man, I hope they crack 1 million. That'd be cool. I don't think they would, but that'd be cool if it happens. In terms of my favorite speedrun so far, I would say Oh
wow! Before you continue, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just went to their page and went to events.
Yeah.
So they've done Classic Games Done Quick. Don't know when that was. Awesome Games Done Quick 2011. Japan Relief Done Quick. And then it's just Summer Awesome trading back and forth from 2011 all the way to now.
Oh wow! So this has been
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I'm gonna see what it went to for Summer last year.
Okay.
Actually, it doesn't say. But they raised $718,000.
Nice, awesome. So I was gonna say, so my favorite speedrun so far, and I think it falls into the top 3 right now for me. I think my favorite so far has been the Shovel Knight speedrun. That was really cool.
Oh, that was pretty rad. I'll admit that.
Yeah, that was cool. Having the developers came on and talked with the speedrunners about it. That was pretty cool. I really enjoyed the Resident Evil 4 speedrun. That was pretty cool. The guys were pretty funny. And then my third one thus far would be 2 games. Actually, there's still a lot of games I liked, but like I Am the Bashi, Bashi Time. And then also it would also be in there as Halo 3. So yeah,
I didn't get to watch the Halo 3 one, but I wanted to.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, so there's a lot of cool games, a lot of speedruns. And there's like, by the time you're watching this, it'll be Saturday morning. So there's like one last day happening for today. And there's going to be a bunch of other cool speedruns happening today. The last game of this Summer Games Done Quick is Chrono Trigger. So, which is cool. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yep. But that's HDDQ. So definitely, guys, you get the chance, check it out. Donate money if you can, and tell them we sent you. That actually be kind of cool, actually. Okay, so now I have to say this. So I'll say this now. Remember the RE2 thing I talked about last week? How a fan was they were making a fan remake of the game, and that I had figured that Capcom, if they're seeing this, like they definitely should hop on this. Lo and behold, Capcom came out on their Facebook and asked to their fans, like, do you guys have an interest in a remake of RE2? And people were they're asking, like, what would you like to see in it if it happened? And people were giving suggestions of all sorts. Mainly just having just the HD remake just being made by itself. So it's funny how I kind of predicted that was going to happen, but like it was kind of obvious too with the recent like successes they had with the Resident Evil Revelations 2, I think it was. And then they recently announced Resident Evil 0 HD remake. Which many fans are pretty excited for as it is. So, I definitely bring it back, please. That I would love to see Nori 2 HD remake.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because, and like we talked about last podcast, is I'm totally okay for those types of things, simply due to the fact that it's hard to get your hands on a copy of the game. And if it's an emulator, you might be dealing with some bugs or glitches here and there because it's an emulator.
Right.
So absolutely, definitely, and RE2 is like one of the best by far. So
Definitely. The interesting thing that was popping up, because I posted a story on our Facebook page, and somebody asked, or somebody was like, one of the comments said, it's great if they make it, but they have to keep the controls like as it were, or else it's in Resident Evil. It's like that has been an old argument dating back to RE5, because people were divided on the controls, because people believe that the tank controls is what made Resident Evil, because of the shoddy aiming, and because of, like, the way you had to move. Like, there was more of a fear of getting bitten because of that. And the people who didn't like those controls rather be more in favor of the more modern controls, rather have that. And their fear can be put in a way where you don't have to be the controls to emphasize that fear. So it's kind of interesting to see that comment from somebody about that, and because I haven't heard that conversation in a very long time. But in my opinion, and I replied to this guy, is like, I don't think you can put an option for those controls in, like they did in RE5, I believe. Yeah. The option to put in the tank controls if you want, but like, I think that you can achieve like fear in a game without having to do that. Just look at PT. So.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a misnomer to sit there and say that a game's controls need to be the same because it's scarier that way.
I mean, here's the thing too. What I think it also contributes to that is the fact that the reason why people are thinking that is because when they were at that age playing the game, very young age, like that fear was put in them because of the control schemes during that time. Times have changed now nowadays. Like we don't have tank controls for our third-person shooter games, and fear can be put in very many different ways nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's I think that mindset. I get people it's the same people who are really adamant about Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a part of their childhood, and they don't want anything to change it. But the minute it does, like it doesn't smell like Resident Evil to them, or any type of game for that matter. So.
I think for Resident Evil, the thing about Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 that was very distinct from other games was the stationary camera, and you would run into a new area.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't think needs to change. But tank controls were only a necessity because of the controllers at the time.
Yes.
Like, joysticks didn't exist at that time. The dual joystick thing was not a thing. And so people, they needed to develop a way to get that correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't RE4 tank controls too? And I know that was on the GameCube.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't? Okay. I thought it was.
No, but it wasn't very... it wasn't tank controls per se, because you still had the C-stick.
Right.
But the C-stick was such in a weird spot that, like, it made it difficult.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
No, Resident Evil 5 and 6 were definitely, like, straight-up third-person action games.
They were. It became...
Yeah, I don't think...
Or, sorry, go ahead.
I don't think tank controls have anything to do with how well you can play the game. I think that's absolutely a misnomer. Mm-hmm. I would go to the extent to say that, like, having the aesthetic be the same is more important.
Agreed. I think they should definitely keep their aesthetic. Definitely should keep how the game feels. Control-wise, I think they should definitely adapt modern controls. Or even, just throw in the options like, hey, if you want tank controls, here's tank controls. So, it's going to be... If Capcom... It's going to depend on two things, in my opinion. It's going to depend on, one, like, how successful is Resident Evil 0 going to be, which I think is going to be successful. The other is going to be how fast is Capcom going to hop on the RE2 HD Remake train if they have a good amount of people to say like they're interested in it. So time will tell, but I think I was right last time, so I'll make this prediction now. Capcom will make an RE2 HD remake. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not disagreeing. I think it's perfectly fine. I mean, shit, if they were just to kind of redo them a little bit for modern consoles, like I think re-releasing games is great.
Yeah.
Remaking games is great. I mean, it depends. It depends on what game is being remade, because let's be honest, we don't need a fucking remaster of a game that came out a year ago. That's unnecessary.
Agreed. So, this was a story. This next story I want to talk about. And this was a story that I didn't want to talk about last week, only because it was a rumor. And hang on, let me type this in. There we go. There was only a rumor, but so I'm new to this YouTube channel called The Know. I know you might have more knowledge.
Yeah, it's Rooster Teeth's news channel.
Okay, I just recently ran across it. So they have been digging up and doing some actual journalistic investigation in the game industry. Who would have thunk it?
About Half-Life 3?
Yeah, like they way.
Okay, so just so you know, not only did I watch both of their videos on Half-Life 3, I read the transcripts and listened to their full hour-long podcast where they talked about it. From my perspective, if a game company were to sit there and say, we're scared, we're legitimately scared that the backlash is going to happen, it would make sense. It would 110 unequivocally make sense to me. For them to act on that fear does not make sense to me. We know, and the guys at Funhouse know, because that's who reported on it.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they know for a fact that the game is very popular, and that it's highly anticipated, regardless of an announced date or not. So when they went and did this, when they went and reported on this, they had one source. They had one source that wanted to be anonymous. Now, they verified in the podcast that we know the guy. We absolutely know the guy. He is not anonymous to us, but he wanted to remain anonymous. And Joel, one of the guy who handles all their finances and shit, but he's still in their videos. He had said, maybe we should have worded it differently. Maybe we shouldn't have said, maybe we shouldn't have said anonymous. Maybe we should have said, what was the term he used? It was a different term entirely that meant basically the same thing, but not the same thing. And I think that would have worked great. I think that would have been perfectly fine. Because the issue at hand is that whether or not Valve is scared, whether or not that's true, the important part here is that there's a developer who believes this, who believes that Valve is doing this, and that's from his perspective. The guy I don't remember his name, but there was another guy who works directly at Valve, and he on Reddit found out about this and was talking to everybody, and he's like, this is untrue, this is not from my perspective. You know, they pointed out in their second video, this is from two different people's perspective. Everything that I heard, the internet needs to chill the fuck out and give these guys a break. They're not journalists. They never claimed to be journalists. They're a bunch of silly dudes making silly videos, and some of the time they make videos that have to do with stuff that's happened in the world.
Sorry to play devil's advocate, but like, even though they aren't journalists, they did go and did investigate, like a journalist, and actually got some information and
yes, that was a joke
sources.
in their that was a joke in their podcast when they were like, they kept making this comment about how. Oh god, what was the comment? It was something along the lines of like we can't call ourselves journalists, or now we have to, or some joke like that.
Oh.
Like it was a running gag through the whole thing, because they've always said that we don't consider ourselves journalists. Mm-hmm. We get a news story, Lawrence does a little bit of the research to make sure he can pump up the script, then we read the script, and then we sit in front of the camera and we report it. And if a joke comes out and gets edited into the video, thumbs up. And that's kind of how the No is in general. The No very, very much is tries to let people know, like, we're reporting on the facts, like we're giving you the information, we're giving you the facts on top of comedy. The No to me is very, very similar to SourceFed.
Okay.
Gotcha. Except 1,000 times funnier. You know, that was another thing in that first video that they had, the 15-minute one about it. Mm-hmm. They had started off the whole thing with, it's an anonymous source. Like, yeah, I trust the guy, but it might not entirely be true, and take that with a grain of salt, and it's one anonymous source. Mm-hmm. Any good journalist knows you need to have at least 2 completely different anonymous sources to make it fact. Mm-hmm. If they're collaborating, or if they're corroborating on the same story. I personally feel that Valve is more afraid of technology on releasing Half-Life 3 than they are audience backlash. That's what I truly believe.
So, which I agree. So to back us up a bit, this whole story was reported by the No, the YouTube channel, about. Well,
let's be specific. It was reported by the Funhouse guys through the No channel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because you can't throw the other two into the situation when they didn't have anything to do with it.
for sure. This was investigated by these guys in terms of, like, is Half-Life 3 still a thing? Is it still being worked on? And they did some, like we said, some investigative journalism and look into it, and came out with guesses, but also came out with I wouldn't say facts per se, but like very convincing scenarios for why Valve should not make Half-Life 3.
Oh yeah, there was that too.
Yes, which, you know, after watching that entire 15-minute video, I was like, I agree with them. Like, Valve has no reason to make Half-Life 3. Like, they are making tons of money.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, they have tons of money right now.
With all their MOBAs that they have, and Steam sales, like they even, Lawrence even went through and calculated all the money that they're making, and it's like $400 million a year,
right?
Just on like Steam sales.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
not to mention that, like, the Dota 2 tournament at the moment is around $17 million as the pop bonus, the prize for the whole tournament for Dota 2, which is crazy. So, like, as much as it pains me to say it, like, Valve has no reason to, but. Because of this video, it blew up all of the internet, and Valve responded to a fan who emailed them about it and basically said that Half-Life 3 is still in the works. Even explained about in terms of, like, how certain things are chosen and made within Valve.
You're talking about the small 2-paragraph transcript that one guy got, right?
Yes.
Okay, did you see the other video where Bruce, the balding guy of Funhouse, he contacted that same guy and had a huge conversation with him.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the whole transcript. I read that entire thing, and the conversation basically consisted of Bruce asking, like, if this were true, if Valve were afraid to release it, would it stop Valve from making it? And the guy was like, absolutely not. We would still make a game that people were wanting because it's going to make us money. We don't want to release a product that's bad in that regard, of course, but people are not. You can't please everybody. And just because BioWare dealt with some serious backlash with Mass Effect 3 does not mean that we're going to get the same backlash with our games that end in 3. So there's no reason for that to be a thing. Yes, we do make a lot of money off of Steam and Dota, but that's neither here or there about producing games that people want. People still play Team Fortress 2. People still play Half-Life 2. People still want a Left 4 Dead 3 and a Portal 3. Those are going to get made. Those are absolutely going to get made eventually.
I should, after this is done, send me links. I want to see that entire thing, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's good to hear. Whether, I mean, on two sides, like on one side, like, that could be all true and what he's saying, but the other side, play devil's advocate, like, he could just be spitballing just for the sake of saving face with the fans out there. So
sure, I'm not above saying that that's not the case, but
yeah,
I think, and that's exactly what they wanted to say in their second video, was, like, and this is mainly to the fans, like, we reported on something that. This is what they said, not us, of course. Mm-hmm. We reported on something that we thought was important. Yeah, no shit. We could get a break like that. We wanted to report on something that we thought was important, and unfortunately, it turned out to not be entirely true. But again, we stated in the beginning that it was part of the rumor mill, that it would, you have to take it for a rumor. Mm-hmm. I mean, they say that right in the beginning of their first video.
Yeah, that was the reason why I didn't bring it up last week, because that was a rumor. I watched the video and I was, very convinced and everything else, but, like, it was a rumor, so I couldn't really talk about it until, week after, when there was more information that came out. So, I
mean, from my perspective, I really do think that, and this is not regards to Half-Life 3 or anything like that. The fan that went and contacted the guy from Valve, I think, was a very smart move. Like, hey, these guys are talking about this with their anonymous source. Like, can you put any verification on it? Brilliant. The fans that are making a big deal are the assholes. In their first video, they had a quote from the anonymous source, and I absolutely agree with it. And that's, if you gave a free blowjob away with every game that you release, fans would be pissed that you didn't cup the balls right.
Yeah. Definitely. There's always going to be something. Sorry for that flex train. There's always going to be something that people are going to be mad about one way or another. Like, in this day and age, yeah, you can't make the perfect game, even though the perfect score is for some games. Like, there's no perfect game.
It's just, it's a big thing. I mean, Mark Laidlaw is the guy from Valve that he talked to.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, it's just again, people need to take it for what it is. It's a rumor. It wasn't meant to be taken in any other way than a rumor. Mm-hmm. And to I also might be getting some things mixed up because there was a lot going on. There's literally, like I said, I watched 2 videos, a podcast, and I read Reddit a bunch. And so, like, that, there's a lot that went into that for just a simple rumor about Half-Life 3 not getting made.
Right, definitely. And we can go on for hours about this, and the reason why people are so passionate about Half-Life 3 and whatnot.
It's funny because I've actually never played Half-Life 1 or 2.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You have never played...
I bought the orange box for Portal, period.
Right.
Couldn't stand Team Fortress 2. Just too fast-paced, too twitchy, and I was just like, no thanks. And the thing about Half-Life that drove me nuts is that I'm the type of gamer that does not like to explore. And Half-Life 2 at least, was very much, there's a path, you just don't know what it is. So, like, I get past the part where you get teleported out of the building and you have your crowbar and you're trying to go around City 17 and escape the Combine.
Mm-hmm.
And I died so many fucking times because I had no idea. And then I got about to the part where you get on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went, I can't do this anymore. This is not my type of game at all.
Interesting.
Don't get me wrong. No disrespect towards the game. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was fantastic. Like, it played well. And there was a lot of cool things about it. It's just, from the type of game that I like to play, it's definitely not for me.
Right. It's not your cup of tea, and that's understandable. Unlike me, though, I like the hell out of Half-Life, so I'm the complete opposite.
Lots of people do. Well, Lawrence said in the podcast that, like, the reason they mainly wanted to report on the rumor was because to them, Half-Life 3 had become a meme and a joke.
Which, yeah, many people would agree that it has been.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, the running gag for anything Valve-wise is they can't count the 3. So far, like, out of the games they have so far, they have not had a third sequel. Left 4 Dead 2, like, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Portal 2, Team Fortress 2. Like, they don't have a third game. So, hopefully that streak ends in the future, but we'll see. We'll definitely see how that goes.
Yep. All right, next topic.
All right, so...
Terrible segue.
Yes, exactly. So, actually, as I'm getting this video on here... Sorry, you're going to see... Oh, crap.
I don't see anything yet.
I know. The audience is like, that's not what you guys are talking about. Okay. Boom.
Did you put porn up?
Yes, exactly. So, okay. This past weekend was the launch of the might have been last no it was last weekend or 2 weeks ago. It was the launch of the Street Fighter V beta, and people who played it tried to get in, did not have a very good time trying to get in, and basically were pretty mad. You know, tweeted at Capcom. Capcom understood. And even though it was a beta, for crying out loud, said, like, you know, we're sorry for the experiences that, you know, that you guys are going through. We're going to go and, you know, make sure and fix this so the guys can play. These past 3 days won't be, you know, toward the beta. We wouldn't have you guys play a game later on at a different time. So they have indefinitely postponed the beta till further notice. And there's been some... Like, speaking of rumors, like, there's been some rumors in terms of, like, why exactly that's the way it is. There were some rumors saying that the reason why the beta did not work is because it wasn't ready. It was a big marketing ploy by the higher-ups, you know, the executives at Capcom, because it was so tied to the pre-order bonus with Street Fighter V. You know, I was one of them. Like, I pre-ordered Street Fighter V just to get into the beta, and It was a crappy way to kind of do that. So when it blew up in their face, like, they postponed it and just, like, you know, try and fix it and then come back later on. So,
oh boy.
Yeah. I mean,
where do I begin on this? First off, Capcom, when's the game supposed to come out? Like, when have they announced
they said next year, March.
Okay, so let's count how many months that is. We're just starting August. So, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Guess what? Guess how many fingers I had up? 8. It is 8 months away. It is in no way, shape, or form ready. If you pre-ordered it to get the beta, fine. I am totally cool with that, because that means you want to help with the production of the game. That you want to make sure it's the best product that it can be. Correct?
Yes, agreed.
Okay. If the beta comes out 8 months before its final release and it doesn't work, good.
Yeah.
Guess what they know now?
Yeah.
Now, Capcom did step up and they were like, hey, you know, sorry. We thought it was a little bit more ready than it was. Our bad. We're going to work on it some more and release a second beta. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, do I think anybody should be getting angry? Fuck no.
It's a beta.
That is
it's a beta for a reason.
Yeah, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm angry because I'm angry at people in general because of that bullshit right there. Mm-hmm. That is as absolute just nonsense to be angry because your game that you wanted, that's not even fucking finished. That's like going to Steam, and I'm not joking when I say this, that's like going to Steam and buying a game that is, what's it called? Like
Steam Greenlight?
Not Greenlight. It's the thing where you basically buy an unfinished game.
Oh, yeah. I forget what it's called. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's like going and doing that, and then getting mad that the game's not finished. That's basically what people have been doing with this beta. If you're legitimately pissed off that it didn't work, you're just an asshole.
To be fair, the recent quote-unquote betas and alphas of games that have been coming out have pretty much been demos and a buy-in incentive for people to buy in. So, like, the idea of what a beta or an alpha is to people now is a playable version of the game, pretty much a demo, to play, that is part of the full game. When people saw how Street Fighter V was with the beta, they kind of assumed that the idea that now that
a beta is not a demo.
Yeah, but you know, other companies are kind of putting it out there to make it think it is. But realistically, it never has been a demo. It's just there to test.
No, of course not. And that's what drives me nuts about people in general, especially like the gamers that want to get angry about it. It's like, what did you expect? Did you expect a finished product? Did you expect a demo? Like,
yeah, yeah, they did. they did.
That is the dumbest shit. The people that get angry about stuff like this, the people who get mad at Valve for not releasing a game on time, or get mad at fucking any company for not releasing a game on time, or get mad about a beta, they're the same people who have no fucking clue what it takes to make a game. No clue.
Mm-hmm.
It is easily one of the hardest tasks that I've ever heard. Like, Dorkly just did a great... I'm just belching a lot as I drink a bunch of water. Dorkly just did a great little comic about what it's like to be a developer. And it says the reality and developer in any game form. And it's 100% true. It's super fucking hard. Like, The Programmer was one of my favorites. It was like, expectation. I get to work on this game all day and be creative. And then the reality is, I just fixed one problem and gained 7 more.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Like, it's very, very, very difficult. And it takes a lot of people to make a game like Street Fighter V. Chill out. Just chill out. It's not a big deal. If you're trying to play the whole, like, conspiracy bullshit that they're just trying to make money or some shit like that.
Well,
it's
they did. the pre-order.
What are you talking about?
The pre-order incentive to pre-order the game and get into the beta. That was their way of making money.
Well, what I'm saying is that the difference in what I'm getting at is when It's a little late, so my brain's trying to fucking keep up with myself.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Saying you get the beta, you get to participate in the beta if you pre-order, is absolutely a way to sell games. Saying that... where was I going with this? I swear to God, my brain is just fried right now with everything I've been going. Saying that having the beta released too early and it not work to extend the beta time to force more people to actually buy the game to pre-order it to get the beta, that's bullshit. That's what I'm saying. The conspiracy that it was bad to be intentionally delayed to earn more money, that's what I'm talking about is bullshit.
Okay, I see. I mean, like, they had no choice, really. I mean, for its credit, it was, they tested it out, and they got a lot of information out of it. There was a lot of crashes, a lot of people who were booted out, who weren't able to get in, or who did play for a couple matches were able to play for a little bit. I think the data what they got was pretty substantial in terms of their server issues. I think that the next time they roll out the beta, they'll have more information regarding the servers, but also probably more information for the people playing the game. So,
yeah, I think, like, just like I said, it's a situation where people don't understand what's actually going on, and they want to think that they know, and it's unfortunate for developers who are trying really hard to get these games out to the public, to the people who want to play them, and when they go and release the beta and they're super excited about it and it doesn't work, and then people are just like, I want to find you and murder your entire family. What incentive do you have to keep making this game? And people don't understand that. Like, I don't understand. I honestly don't get that. Like, why do that? Why be that way?
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's actually doing that, but I have to imagine that someone at least has.
Right. There definitely are people out there who are. You definitely can get that group. But speaking of, oh man, I just had my transition. I just screwed it up. Anyways, speaking of games that are okay, there you go. Speaking of games that people don't understand how they work or how they're made. So I'm going to actually wrap a couple of these stories into one because they all relate to one another. So, quick story. On the way home today, I was listening to the Beastcast, Giant Bomb's East Coast podcast, when they were talking about the Red Ash Kickstarter, which is not, at the moment, last I checked, was not going to succeed in their Kickstarter goal. And Red Ash was supposed to be the spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends 3, I believe. And it didn't meet its goal, and that it had the way it was set up is it was like 800,000 for half of the pre-log, and then I forgot what amount was it to get the actual game or the full pre-log, and then the game itself. And then at the same time, Friendly came out and announced also, along with the game, like an animated series with Red Ash as a Kickstarter as well, a full 12-episode anime, if you will. Which this all comes off the heels of Mighty Number 9 recently, and this is actually today, saying that there have been reports saying that that game will not be released this year. There's a rumor saying that Mighty Number 9 will not be released this year when it said it was supposed to come out in August of this year. And I get it, there's delays, that definitely happens in game development. But I think, like, and then we've had this discussion before, but like I just feel like because like Red Ash is and here's the thing about the Red Ash game, just to go back. The Red Ash game, it will fail on Kickstarter, but a Chinese company, it's going to pick up a publisher, brand new publisher is going to pick up the funding for the game to help create Red Ash. So, it got me thinking, then what's the point of having a Kickstarter if you already have a publisher behind you to make the game, to give you money? And part of it is probably, for interest groups, if there's enough interest.
Yeah, exactly.
And it also came down to, like, it feels like recently with these games have been kickstarted and being helped by publishers, I feel like Kickstarter is now becoming a new way to pre-order games. Because it's kind of becoming like that. And it doesn't sit right with me. But another part of me is saying, like, if it wasn't for the Kickstarter, like, some of these games would not even be in the making because of publishers were not, wanting to touch you with a 10-foot bull. Like, nobody's gonna say, I want to make Shenmue 3. Sony's out there helping it out, but like, if you talk to other companies, like, do you think Microsoft or other companies gonna pick that up and try and make that game? Like, no, it's gonna cost a lot of money, and I'm not sure it's gonna be really big payback.
Yeah.
So,
that's the thing that, like, the Funhouse guys, go back to that for like a second. Something they talk about that I always think is very interesting. A lot of people will immediately try very difficultly. Jesus. A lot of people will try to knock down developers because they think that they're not doing a good job. And what makes that so unfortunate is that these guys are working day and night to get this stuff done. Working day and night to get this game released to the public. And if there's delays, if it seems like it's going to cost more than it will be to make, you'll never see the game. If Mighty Number 9 is not going to be released until next year, that means there have been hundreds of complications.
Mm-hmm.
If that's true, I'm fine with it. But the issue at hand is that, will that money that they raise through Kickstarter be enough to finish the game?
Yeah, and it sounds fishy because, like, when they announced Red Ash, it was in the midst of Mighty Number 9 have not been completed yet, and people.
That's also a rumor. I mean, it's. We have to take it like that.
That is true. That is true. It could be just a rumor, definitely. But yeah, if it turns out to be true, it's a bad taste in the mouth. It's not something I particularly like. I like rum, but but yeah, like, if it's true. If it's not true, when the game is definitely coming out in August, then forget everything. My big
thing that I want to tell people, and this is something that I'll never understand. I'll never get it. If you go to the library, right, a place of books, and you go and you get this one book, right, and you get about, I don't know, halfway through it, and you're like, this is fucking garbage. Do you walk into the fucking library and then yell at the librarian and demand the author's name? So that way you can find the author, and if the author's dead, you're going to find the kids of the author and yell at them? When you go see a movie, let's say you go see Ant-Man. And you're like, I didn't really like Ant-Man. I didn't think it was that good. Are you going to sit there and try and yell at Paul Rudd? Or yell at the director, who I can't remember his name?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. And here's the reason why you won't. Because if that book sucks, there are thousands of other books to read. If that movie sucks, there are other movies to watch.
That is true.
If a game gets delayed, or a game's beta doesn't work, or you buy a game and it's not very good, return it and buy something you do like. There are so many games to play everywhere.
I think the reason why people are so, like, nowadays people are a bit more cautious of Kickstarter games just because of the history it has with some other Kickstarters that have, some have succeeded but some have not. And the thing about it is that
let me before you finish that thought.
Okay.
You were talking about how people are skeptical on it because of the history. Well, here's the history of being an investor. Sometimes your investments don't pan out. That's all you're doing as a fucking Kickstarter. When you wow, I'm stuttering. When you go and support a Kickstarter, all you're doing is supporting, or you're being an investor. You're investing in that guy's future. You're investing in that game. it is in no way, shape, or form a scam, a ripoff. I mean, maybe some are, sure, but if you put your money into it and then all of a sudden you find out, oh, well, this game's going to be super delayed and it might not come out and there's all these issues with it and shit like that, you just kind of lost on an investment. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly all it comes down to. And you know what? Legally, because it's Kickstarter, because it's GoFundMe, because it's the other crowdfunding website I can't remember the name of.
There's a ton of them out there. Like the two that come to mind is Indiegogo and Kickstarter.
Indiegogo, that's Indiegogo, GoFundMe, and Kickstarter are the three famous ones.
Yes.
They are legally bound to like do the donation goals that they say they will. Those are absolutely things they must do if the goals are met. That's another thing about Kickstarter that a lot of people just don't fucking think about. If it doesn't meet its goal, you don't get your money taken out of your account or your credit card.
Yeah, and there's definitely been talks of like what Kickstarter should do on their end when it comes to making an investment, because like at the moment you can't ask for a refund before the project's over. You can even go up to the very last day and like kind of, you know, in a way, if you wanted to screw with the developer and like take the money away, that may not make that, you know, that goal. So there's definitely some questions in terms of what Kickstarter should do when they're in. But at the same time, though, I think the other part of the equation that people are not seeing, and they're starting to realize this more, and we talked about this a bit last week, is that people are starting to realize like making games costs a lot of money, and like the amount of money that is being asked for may seem a lot, but in reality, like it's only
more.
Yeah, it should cost a lot more to make. That's why you have like the guy who made Shenmue come out and say like, you know, oh, if we raise 10 million, we actually get the actual vision I want to make the game, instead of the 2 million that he was asking for. Yeah. So there isn't enough transparency with these game companies, and they shouldn't. Like they I mean, like they don't have, there's no benefit to doing so. But it should be something that they should do in the future on more behind the scene DVDs, like what Bungie did with Halo 2, like with Double Fine did with their games as of late. People just don't know. I think what it comes down to.
I personally find crowdfunding to be an amazing way to raise funds, you know, to get anonymous investors involved, to get a lot of investors involved. Mm-hmm. I think that Kickstarter, crowdfunding in general, is just it's really is the perfect way to know that your audience is there also. Like there's so many benefits to Kickstarter. And again, I cannot stress this enough. If you invest in a game, pardon me, and it does not get made, or something happens in the development process of it, just deal with it. Just literally deal with it. That's all I can say to that. It's your life isn't over. No one's life is over. Everything will be fine. If you know, look, if you really think it's a scam, then stop going to Kickstarter.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like it is. Definitely, like it is definitely a place where, you know, it's your money. You know, you get to choose how you spend it, but just be wary.
It's your money and you need it now.
So, I'll end it on this quick one. I didn't have video for it because like Nintendo is always like picky when it comes to their video footage being on other YouTube channels. So I'll just say this. So, Greg.
Yep.
Marshmallows or hot dogs?
It's a very weird, like, I got cats and dogs.
Yes.
And I understood the second one, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was roller coasters and water slides. I understood that. I was like, those are two attractions that you would see at theme parks, so that makes sense to me. Why this one? Why marshmallows versus hot dogs?
I have no clue. Hang on a minute. Let me put this in Splatoon.
Splatoon is a weird fucking game to begin with.
It's a lot of fun, though.
I'm not doubting it. I think weird and fun are synonymous, but it certainly is a strange game. It is.
There
was a whole thing I was reading about how there's this like underlining really dark theme within the game, and with the squids versus the Octarians, it's fucking funny.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a post-apocalyptic game, actually. Like this, like takes place like at years after humanity has been wiped out and squids have taken over the world. That's why they're kind of like a squid / humanoid creatures.
Is it a squid or a kid?
Yes, exactly. So what we're talking about is Splatoon has a new event coming up in North America for Splatfest, the third event, and it's called Marshmallows versus Hot Dogs. Now, I have no idea what is going to be. I'm pretty sure they have some sort of accessory that they'll put on, on your character if you wanted to, support one thing or another. But that's an interesting. Out of the things they've said so far, like Marshmallows versus Hot Dog is the most weirdest one. But to be just to play along, out of the two, I would say hot dogs, because like with hot dogs, at least you get to able to heat up in a bun. You get to put whatever condiment you want on it. It may not be the healthiest thing in the world, but nor is a marshmallow. But at the very least, you have some flexibility with that.
If we're going off of like, I think the question should be simply hot dog versus marshmallow, not hot dog with a bun and condiments versus a marshmallow. Because I could sit there and go, well, I could do a s'more with a marshmallow. I could just roast it over a fire. It would be delicious. I could melt it in the microwave and then put it over some yams.
So we're just talking about just the hot dog itself. Is the hot dog cooked? Is it?
Let's go with no.
Oh, just raw.
Raw hot dog versus raw marshmallow. In
that case, marshmallow wins. If it's not cooked, or put it in a microwave or something, it's not. You can still eat it. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not. It's okay. It's not the greatest thing in the world. Marshmallows, marshmallows, you can eat that, cooked or not cooked, and it'll still taste good.
Now, if we're talking about marshmallow versus hot dog in the terms of like as the active ingredient in a meal or a treat, if you will, so like hot dog with bun and all the condiments you want versus a marshmallow with however you want to prepare it with other things, which one wins in that case?
I would say, given if they were both like heated up and used for other things, I think hot dog would win. Because
so you'd rather have a hot dog than a s'more? I mean, I'm fine if that's the case. I'm just asking.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the time of day. Like, I would say yes, though, overall. Because like on a hot dog, like there's been an anime conventions I've been to where like the people are out there on the street selling like bacon wrapped hot dogs, and it's so good.
Oh yeah, bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, technically you could bacon wrap marshmallows, but then again you can bacon wrap anything. So.
Yeah, not to mention you could deep fry a hot dog or a marshmallow.
All right. Well, I think we've discussed this into the ground.
Yeah. But yeah, just kind of ended on a weird note. But
I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah. For those who don't know, it is about 1 a.m. right now. So, this is the end of our show. Thank you guys for joining us. If you're wondering why we're not able to talk to you guys on Twitch chats, because we're doing this in the past, and you're watching this in the future.
I think you'll still be able to talk to everybody, but we're not. Oh, you mean at live? We're not just okay. Gotcha,
yeah, we'll be in the chat. We'll be up in the chat, like paying with you guys. But yeah.
I may or may not be.
Good point. That might be the same for me, just because I might be watching SGDQ maybe, depending on what time it is. Anyways, that's going to be our show. So, before we go, You can follow us on our website, animationsartpodcast.com. You can follow the work that me and Greg do there. Also, you can check out this audio and video podcast on our website. Also on iTunes and Stitcher. Just look up Mission Start Podcast. If you enjoy convention talk, if you've enjoyed, our experiences at recent conventions we attended and covered. This past week, we put up the Conover episode of Comic-Con and our experiences there. Please go check it out, which is also at our website, as well as on iTunes and Stitchers. And if you enjoy HBO, if you enjoy entertainment, comic books, movies, all that good stuff, check out the Rolling 20s, which is hosted by Jeremy, which also can be found which also can be found on our website at missionsartpodcast.com.
The word is found on our website.
Found, right? Wow, I think I'm out of it too.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m.
It's true. I want to stay up more because parents out of town. I was gonna say. You can definitely check out the Rolling 20s podcast, also on iTunes and Stitcher. And one last thing before we end the show, if you're watching this on Twitch, definitely follow us on our Twitch channel. We are always usually every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Bringing to you the latest news in the gaming industry within the past week. The audio version and the video version goes up like on Monday, so you guys can check it out in case you missed it. And that's gonna do it for us. So I might be a show next week. I can't confirm or deny, but there might be something. Who knows? We'll figure it out. Anyways,
I'm trying to think if I have anything going on next Saturday.
For me,
I do have something going on next Saturday, so we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I will be in SAC for a tournament. So I will be in town, but in terms of if that show will happen, who knows? I might just go over to Greg's place and just like, hey, Greg, let's do a live show. Yeah.
When, Saturday?
Next Saturday. I'll just come up there, just like, Greg, let's do the show, but I must forewarn you, I'll be butt naked. So, yeah.
Well then, I mean, no, thank you.
All right, guys. It's getting late. We're both delirious. We can't even talk anymore. But we'll see you guys next time.